Good morning and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of chemistry. Children, we are discussing the chapter physical and chemical changes. Is it? And in previous class, I have started the topic types of chemical reactions. Clear? So, today we'll discuss the rest of the types of chemical reactions. But before that, I am going to demonstrate you the activity of this chapter, which is the activity number 2 according to your activity syllabus. Okay, so this activity you need to write in your activity notebook. Okay, children? So, children, today we will demonstrate the activity number 2 of our chemistry syllabus. The aim of our activity is to show the displacement reaction between copper and iron. For this activity, the material which we require are copper sulfate solution and the iron nail which is tied in a thread. So here I have the materials. First of all, I will take a test tube and some copper sulfate solution in it. Now, children, notice that the color of the copper sulfate solution is blue in color. Now, in second step, I will take an iron nail which is tied in a thread and I will hang it inside this copper sulfate solution and put it for some time. After some time, we will observe that the iron nail, which is earlier silvery gray in color, it have a deposit of brown color on its surface. So children, you can see here the brownish deposit is present on its surface and the color of the solution gets changed from blue to greenish. So here the solution gets changed from bluish to greenish color. This change is there because of a chemical reaction that occurs between them, and that chemical reaction is when the copper sulfate solution reacts with iron, they are going to exchange. The sulfate is going to displace from its place and comes to iron, and it will form ferrous sulfate and copper gets separated, and that copper is get deposited on the surface of iron nail which looks brown in color, and the greenish solution that we obtain at last is the ferrous sulfate solution. So this reaction is termed as displacement reaction. Displacement indicates just because the sulfate is going to displace from copper to iron. So children, I hope that you understood this activity. I already told you that we are discussing the types of chemical reactions. And in previous class, we have discussed the one of the type of chemical reaction, that was combination reaction. Okay, now today I am going to discuss the second type of chemical reaction, that is decomposition reaction. Okay children, this decomposition reaction, as the name indicate, decomposition reaction is one in which a compound breaks up into two or more substances. Okay, so such a reaction is known as decomposition, and decomposition is normally caused by heating or by passing electric current through it. Okay, so these are the two reasons because of that this decomposition reactions takes place. What is the first one? The first one because of heating, and the second one because of passing electricity. Okay, so simply we can write the decomposition reaction as AB. Suppose this one is a compound, and after the chemical reaction it's going to break into its different constituents, that is A and plus B. Okay, so this one is the general chemical equation of decomposition reaction. Now take some example of it. So the first example is when calcium hydroxide, okay, is heated. Children, this is the formula of calcium hydroxide, and when this calcium hydroxide is heated, so it's get decomposed in calcium oxide. The formula of calcium oxide is CaO and also forms water. Get it, children? So this chemical equation shows the which kind of reaction? Yes, decomposition reaction. Okay, and what is this? Which compound is this? This is calcium hydroxide. And after decomposition, what forms? It forms calcium oxide. And water. Okay, children, understood this first example? Now take another example in which the copper carbonate after heating is going to break into copper oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so this is also the example of decomposition reaction. Copper carbonate. The formula is CuCO3. Is it, children? Remember now, CO3 is the group of carbonate and Cu is the symbol of copper. So what will be the formula of copper carbonate? CuCO3. So when this copper carbonate heated, it breaks or it decomposed into copper oxide CuO and plus carbon dioxide gas also released. Okay, children, and you remember that to show the gas, which sign we have to use? We have to use a arrow upward. So this indicates that the carbon dioxide gas produced during this chemical reaction. Okay. Copper carbonate, copper oxide, and this is, what is this? Yes, this is carbon dioxide. Okay, children, so these two are the examples of decomposition reaction. And you have seen that when an electric current is passed through water, okay, in which a little sulfuric acid has been added, then what happened? Then the water decomposes to give hydrogen and oxygen gases. So this is also one of the example of decomposition reaction. Is it, children? What happened when the electricity passed in water in which a little sulfuric acid is mixed? It decomposed into its what? Yes, constituents, that is hydrogen and oxygen gas. So the water, which is in which state? Liquid state. Okay. After passing the electricity, it's going to decompose into hydrogen gas and the oxygen gas. And as they are produced in the form of gases, so we will show the arrow pointing upwards. Okay children, and now you can balance it. Get it? So this one is a water which is in liquid state. After mixing a little sulfuric acid and passing the electric current, it breaks into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Okay, so these all are the examples of which reaction? Yes, this one is the example of decomposition reaction. Understood children? Okay, I hope that you understood. Now, come to the third type of chemical reaction. And this third type of chemical reaction is single displacement reaction. Which reaction is this children? This is single displacement reaction. Okay. The single indicates that the displacement of the elements takes place only of one. This is why it is known as single displacement reaction. Okay. If the two elements get displaces in a chemical reaction, so that reaction will termed as double displacement reaction. So we will discuss that double displacement reaction also after this reaction. Okay, so the single displacement reaction indicates that when one element replaces another element from a compound. Okay, and it is found that in general a more reactive element replaces a less reactive element from its compound. Okay children, so this you have to remember that who will displace? The element which is more reactive. Okay, to whom it will displace? It will displace to a less reactive element in a compound. Get it? So general reaction we can write as, suppose A, an element is going to react with a compound PC. So after this single displacement reaction, C will get displaced. Okay, this A have displaced the C from its place. So this is shown as that single displacement reaction. Now take some example. Okay children? So the example is when iron is going to react with copper sulfate solution. Get it children? As the iron is more reactive element than copper. So what will happen? The displacement reaction will takes place. Copper sulfate, the formula is CuSO4. Yes, and when this is going to react with iron, what is the symbol of iron children? Yes, it is Fe. So the single displacement reaction will take place and this iron will displace the, yes, copper and form iron sulfate, and copper gets displaced. Get it? So CuSO4, what is this? This is copper sulfate. Fe, this is the symbol of iron. FeSO4, this is the, yes, formula of iron sulfate. And copper, the symbol is Cu. Get it, children? So what happened in this reaction? Iron is a more reactive element than copper. Okay, and if a piece of this iron is added to a solution of copper sulfate, then what will happen? Iron sulfate will form and the copper metal get deposited on the iron piece. Okay, understood, children? Now take the next example. Okay, and in this example I am going to take the compound silver nitrate. What is this? Silver nitrate, and the formula is AgNO3. Okay, children, nitrate is the group NO3 and silver have the symbol Ag. So this is silver nitrate. When this silver nitrate reacts with copper, the displacement reaction will take place and it forms the copper nitrate. And the formula of copper nitrate is CuNO3 whole twice. Okay, children, this is because the valency of copper is 2 and the valency of nitrate is 1. So that is why CuNO3 whole twice and the silver gets displaced. Okay, now you can balance it. So this one is the balanced equation which shows the displacement reaction, okay, in which copper displaces the silver. Okay, children? Now, AgNO3. What is this? This is silver nitrate. Cu, this is the symbol of copper. CuNO3 whole twice. This is the formula of copper nitrate. And Ag, this is the symbol of silver. Get it written? These examples. So these examples shows the which reaction? Yes, single displacement reaction. Okay. In the second example, if a piece of copper wire is dipped in silver nitrate solution, so what will happen? It gets coated with silver and the color of the solution changes to bluish due to the formation of copper nitrate. Okay, get it? So I hope that you understood this third type of chemical reaction, that is single displacement reaction. And now come to the next, fourth, that is double displacement reaction. So the fourth type of chemical reaction is, yes, double displacement reaction. What happened in this reaction, children? As the name indicate, double displacement. The two different elements gets displaced. Okay, so in a double displacement reaction, two compounds reacts by exchanging their elements or groups. Okay, and in single displacement reaction, what was there? A single compound, okay, exchange their element. So this double displacement reaction can be written generally as, suppose this one is a compound AB and the another is CD. So after the double displacement reaction, they are going to exchange. Get it, children? What happened? This B get exchanged to C. Okay, and this D comes to A. Okay, so this is the general reaction. Which one? Double displacement reaction. Now this double displacement reaction is of two types. The first one is precipitation reaction. So the first double displacement reaction is precipitation reaction. What will happen in this double displacement reaction, children? What will form? A precipitate will form. Okay, the two compounds which form, one of them is the precipitate. That is why this kind of double displacement reaction is known as precipitation reaction. Okay, in these reactions, two compounds reacts in their aqueous state. Aqueous state means in the state of solution and to form an insoluble product. Okay, and this insoluble product appears in the form of a precipitate. And you already have seen that the reaction between iron chloride and ammonium hydroxide to form a precipitate of iron hydroxide. Get it? So we have some examples of precipitation reaction. And the first one is when sodium chloride, children, the formula is NaCl. So when this one is going to react with another compound, that is silver nitrate. The formula of silver nitrate is AgNO3. So what will happen? Double displacement reaction will take place. Okay, and one of this will form as precipitate. So silver chloride, whose formula is AgCl, will form, and this is formed in the form of precipitate, and the precipitates are shown by the arrow pointing downwards. So this indicates that this compound will form as a precipitate. And the second one is, yes, this is sodium nitrate. Okay, children. So these two new compounds will form after the precipitation reaction. NaCl, this is sodium chloride. AgNO3, this is silver nitrate. And the products are AgCl, this is silver chloride. Okay, and the second product is sodium nitrate. Get it, children? The first example, is it? This is the aqueous sodium chloride. Aqueous means in the form of solution or liquid. And the silver nitrate, they are going to react to form a white color precipitate of silver chloride. So after this reaction, we will observe a white precipitate, and that white precipitate is of silver chloride. Okay. The second example is when sodium carbonate. What will be the formula, children? Sodium carbonate? Yes, it is Na2CO3. Sodium carbonate is going to react with copper sulfate, and the formula is CuSO4. So the double displacement reaction will take place, and the products that are formed are sodium sulfate Na2SO4, and the second product is copper carbonate. Get it, children? And this copper carbonate will form as a precipitate. So the downward arrow we can put after it. Na2CO3, the formula of sodium carbonate. CuSO4, that already you know, copper sulfate. Okay, children? And the Na2SO4, this is the formula of sodium sulfate. And CuCO3, that is copper carbonate. Okay, children? So in this reaction, what happens? This aqueous sodium carbonate, aqueous sodium means in form of solution, it reacts with aqueous copper sulfate. So they both are in which form? Solution form. Okay, and after this reaction, what happened? It forms the precipitate of copper carbonate. Okay, so these are the examples in which the precipitates form. Okay, now the second kind of double displacement reaction is neutralization reaction. Okay, children? Neutralization reaction. You already know that in these reactions, what happened? An acid reacts with a base to form salt and water. Okay? So this is the reaction in which an acid reacts with base, and the products which are formed are salt and water. And the general equation is, the general equation that Ha, it indicates that an acid, and BOH, it indicates for a base, and when they both get reacts, it forms a salt. Okay, because the double displacement reaction is going to occur. So IB, that indicates for a salt, and water will form. Okay, so this is the acid, this one is a base, and when they both are going to react, a double displacement reaction is going to occur and forms a salt and water. So this kind of reaction is known as neutralization reaction. Okay, now take some example of neutralization reaction. So the first example is when sulfuric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide solution. Okay, so it forms sodium sulfate, which is a kind of salt, and it also forms the water. Okay, children? H2SO4. This is the formula of sulfuric acid. So when this sulfuric acid is going to react with a base, that is sodium hydroxide. Okay, and the formula is NaOH. So what will happen? A salt will form, and that salt will be sodium sulfate. Okay, children, sodium sulfate, the formula is Na2SO4, and along with it water will also form. Okay, and now balance it. Get it? So what is this? H2SO4. This is an acid. Which acid? Yes, it is sulfuric acid. NaOH, this is, yes, it is sodium hydroxide, and this is a base. So when this acid and this base reacts together, it forms a salt. And which salt is this? Sodium sulfate. And along with this salt, what will form? Water. Get children? So this is the water. So this example indicates that the neutralization reaction is going to occur, which is a kind of double displacement reaction. Okay, now take one more example. The next example is when hydrochloric acid reacts with potassium hydroxide. Okay, children, hydrochloric acid, the formula is HCl. So when this acid is going to react with a base, that is potassium hydroxide, KOH. So it will form a salt, that is potassium chloride, KCl, and along with it forms the water. Okay, children? Understood? So, what is the product going to form in this neutralization reaction? Yes, potassium chloride and water. Get it? So, I hope that children you understood these all types of chemical reaction. Thank you and have a nice day.